and that was great, but I never really was saved in the Black Baptist church. I got saved much later, and when I got saved, when I basically gave my life to Jesus Christ, this was 2 years ago, I started to notice that a lot of things in the Black Baptist church were not actually biblical. I found a lot of traditions that were very near and dear to my heart. They reminded me of my family and of the things I grew up with, and I love that. Like, the Black Baptist church isn't just a spiritual thing, it's also a cultural, historical, it means a lot more than just a spiritual now. And I love that, but at the same time, I wanted something more biblically sound, more theologically sound. I wanted to really get deep into the Bible, and so I began drifting away from that and going to different churches. And I did end up finding a church in my area a couple years ago that was really in that vein, but it was a majority white church. And I had to get past some of my preconceptions. Having been in majority black church environments for much of my life, I had to move into a space where I was okay with saying, okay, part of this transformation as believers is also us as African Americans being willing to get out of that mind frame as well, because we've bought into a lot of it. We have our churches, we have our way of doing things, we got our first lady, we got our pastor's anniversary, we have our traditions and our ways, and sometimes we're not willing to give that up for something different. Now, in that same vein, the churches I was attending had to also show that they were doing that as well. They were also pushing out of their comfort zone, and that's a lot easier said than done. Unfortunately, because we live in a fallen world, many of us unconsciously or consciously have embraced simple ideologies that aren't really biblical. Now, the current church that I'm at now, which is kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, I really love this church because, number one, I saw that it was not only talking the talk, it was walking the walk. The church is very diverse. You have people of color in all levels of leadership, women in levels of leadership. It is very diverse, very open, very transparent, and really teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's what I'm most like. I don't care. I would go to a Korean church if they're teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ, like teaching the word of God correctly, like applying the word of God, raising up disciples. Like, I love that, and that is what my church is doing. But today, and this is a couple days after I read that article in the New York Times, today my church announced our new pastor. We've been working on, the board has been working on electing a new pastor, and today they announced that the pastor was actually going to be our executive pastor, who is a person of African American descent. And so the church was like very happy. People were standing up clapping. Like, it was just a great moment. We're finally beginning to just do what Christ commanded us to do. Like, it's such a great moment to see us being Christians, in so many ways, particularly in the racial area where many of us have failed to be Christ-like. I asked my Christians that are non-minorities, my non-minority Christians, to begin praying to God and ask how you can begin reflecting the teachings of Christ in this area, particularly in the racial area. How can you be an advocate on behalf of Christians of color? Whether it be challenging your church to invite people from different areas to come to your church. Whether it be challenging people who say things that are ungodly in that area. Whether it be you going to a church that is a minority church and becoming active in one of their groups. You don't have to become a member, but becoming active in one of their groups. How can you begin embodying the teachings of Christ? And then for us as people of color, how can we begin to reach out, to be a part of other communities, to reach out to non-minority communities, come to our minority church, or vice versa? Like, we all can begin to make this change, and we can all begin to reflect this vision that Christ has given us for the kingdom and for heaven. And it's just great. So that's all I have to say. This one's a little bit longer than my other Hella Building Real Lives, but just really important to me. And that's all I got, guys. So comment below. Let me know if you've had an experience as a minority Christian in a non-minority church, or vice versa, or whatever. I am going to try to link that article below, and just give me your opinion on the article.